As we battle COVID, we have not taken our eye off the ball in terms of our responsibility to address the issue of homelessness. We came in to the year with this being our top priority. We're going to continue to focus on this through the end of this year, and I can assure you for many, many years to come, as we must do more and do better in this space. It's not just about spending money. I recognize that. It's a resourceful mindset. Doing things differently is also foundational in our approach, and that is deeply part of our focus as we moved into this new year. We did $628 million in this last budget, despite historic budget shortfalls. We put an additional $628 million in emergency aid to help support cities and counties under the pressure of COVID-19 and the economic outcomes as a consequence. We also announced efforts this year to put $600 million into a new initiative, Project Homekey. I've talked about it in the past. I'll talk a little bit more about it in a moment, but all total, $1.25 billion was put into this year's budget, more than last year, despite the budgetary challenges, more than last year, to focus on an emergency approach, a direct service approach, to create, as we say in psychology, a pattern interrupt to what we see out on the streets and sidewalks. And I am not naive, because I see exactly what you see. And I can assure you we are just winding up in many of these efforts. Project Homekey comes from a program many of you are familiar with, which is our Room Key program. Just since April, and I think this is an important slide, just since April, we took pen to paper, came up with an idea, and looked at this COVID crisis anew as it relates to the issue of homelessness. And we have provided housing for 22,000 people just in the last few months. Years and years to build up a system. And overnight, just in the last 100+ days, we were able to serve over 22,000 individuals. We were able to procure over 16,000 hotel rooms, 344 different hotels in 55 of our 58 counties, including sovereign tribal nations that participated in this unprecedented effort, this unprecedented program. We want to build on that program as we built last year an additional point of access, and that was 1,345 new trailers that we were able to get out to 26 counties and 2 tribal nations. By the way, 1,345 trailers. These trailers went out, were delivered, and these trailers are not just for one individual. Many families are in these trailers. Many individuals have cohorted in these trailers. It's been, again, part and parcel of our emergency response to deal with this crisis, all part, again, of the Project Room Key effort. But as I said, this Room Key effort now is merging into a Home Key strategy, more permanence. That was an emergency response. Now we need a permanent response. And I've long believed that homelessness is solved through permanent supportive housing. I said it many, many times that shelter solves sleep, but housing and supportive services solve homelessness. I've had a bias for decades, housing first. Housing as a point of stability, point of pride, a key, a lock, place to call your home. Then you start dealing with the underlying issues, the reason people are out in the streets and sidewalks in the first place. But stability is foundational. You live out under the elements, you live under a freeway overpass, and someone says, well, maybe you shouldn't self-medicate any longer. That's harder to convince an individual than when they have a place to call their home, a place where they feel safe, where they can actually put their belongings, when they can take a deep breath, and they can start contextualizing the conditions that led to their situation in the first place. And so that's why we have put tremendous effort and are very gratified that this effort was supported by the legislature, supported by many in the advocacy community and many cities and counties, which I'll get to in a moment. Unprecedented, $600 million program to purchase permanent hotels and motels and apartment buildings throughout the state of California so we can convert to being part of our permanent stock of support. not all permanent supportive housing, many transitional housing. Many of these units could be used for a myriad of purposes, but provide us assets the state has never had in the past. And let me just make this crystal clear. As a former mayor, the state hasn't been focused on the issue of homelessness. It hasn't been a focus of many, many administrations. It's not a point of critique. It's just factual. It has been focus of mayors primarily and county officials that have been burdened with this challenge. And we're trying to change that paradigm, build capacity, build partnership, recognizing that it is localism that's determinative, meaning local government has to drive, actually deliver, but the state is now providing more in the ways of support than we ever have. Again, we're just getting started. I recognize the conditions all throughout the state of California. They're unacceptable, and we're going to have to significantly do more, and particularly into the next year as we work our way out of COVID and deal with the economic challenges. It's self-evident that this has to be our top priority, and it is. So $600 million was set aside in the budget to purchase these hotels and motels. So I just wanted to highlight all of that because it's incredibly important to me personally, professionally, in terms of my roles and responsibility here as your governor. And one of the really remarkable things that came out of all of the stress and the travails of COVID-19 with an innovative mindset on this issue, and that's manifest in this Homekey strategy and manifest in the new approach to, again, housing as an element, housing as the building block, housing as our foundational principle first,